says, is there certain ingredients with stevia that can be bad? Do you have any suggestions? So I really do not have any concerns whatsoever with stevia. I actually used to use Splenda a lot, and then I switched to stevia just to be safe. And honestly, unless you're taking in ridiculous amounts of artificial sweeteners, I would not be concerned. I'm gonna throw up a link to one of my absolute favorite videos ever right here. And it's Layne Norton talking about toxins. And I highly suggest that everyone who has any questions about that watch this video, because he does an amazing job just explaining it like it is. Because anything can be a toxin depending on the dosage. You can die from drinking too much water. So there you go. Alyssa also asks, in the beginning, mainly, is it good if I completely put together my next day's meals on MyFitnessPal and everything to get my macros perfect? I do recommend in the beginning putting in your macros, planning your meals a day ahead of time, just to make sure that you're hitting all of your carbs, protein, and fat. If you don't do that and you're new to counting macros, it can get tricky and you may go over or under on stuff. But once you start getting a feel for it, it becomes easier and you can play it by ear. Alyssa also says, I see a lot of recipes, carbs that say net carbs, which I know they subtract the fiber from the original carbs. For MyFitnessPal and all macro tracking, is it important to calculate all the carbs, not just net? So yes, count all the carbs. Unfortunately, some packaging can be deceptive, but yes, you want to account for all the carbs, not just net carbs. And Alyssa's final question, do you try to get certain serving amounts of fruits a day? No, I actually don't prefer fruit. I actually like to eat vegetables more than fruits. I do eat some fruits, especially strawberries and the lower carb fruits. But a lot of fruit actually has a lot of carbs in it, like grapes and apples. They can have a lot of carbs in them. So I eat more vegetables just to get that high volume in, because they have low carbs and high fiber. But it really comes down to preference. I would say eat as many fruits and vegetables as possible to hit your fiber goal and keep you full and satisfied. My friend Christine says, what is your favorite lift to do in the gym / muscle group to work out? So I have no idea why this is, but I love triceps. I love training triceps. There is no particular reason. I just have a lot of fun. Yeah. And then my favorite overall lift would be barbell squats. I do daily undulating periodization, so just increasing volume and strength every week with that and seeing that played out in numbers is pretty freaking cool, because I'm a numbers girl. I like to see numbers with everything. C. Sherman says, what's your training split? Days per week you train and which muscle groups when? So I train 6 days a week and I have one rest day. I alternate between upper and lower every other day. And like I mentioned, I do daily undulating periodization. So I kind of do like powerlifting style to start off, which I'll probably explain more in depth in another video. But on lower days, I start out with heavy barbell squats, then deadlifts, barbell hip thrusts, and then more of the bodybuilding style accessory work for glutes and hamstrings. So when I say bodybuilding style, I mean more higher reps, like 8 to 12 reps, no 3x3. Like for squats, I might do 3x3 or something like that on some days, which is more of the powerlifting style. So on upper days, I start out with bench doing daily undulating periodization, and then do the accessory bodybuilding style lifts for back, triceps, biceps, shoulders, and chest. I hope that made sense. I will make a more in-depth video really explaining all of that. I was crazy drunk when aka George, says, how do you get your hair so pretty? My hair looks like doo-doo butter. I don't know if you have been checking it out, but look at those split ends. I'm not even kidding. It's kind of gross. I have not cut my hair in like 6 months, but you know what? It's aight. If you want your hair to look like mine, just don't cut it, ever. Callie Aesthetics says, what foundation do you use? Do you put your right or left sock on first? Well, Callie, just so you know, I put my right sock on first, and I'm dying to tell you that I use Maybelline Matte Mousse Foundation from the drugstore. Does wonders. Madeline Ferguson, my homegirl, she has an amazing YouTube channel, by the way. I will link it right here. She rocks. She said, what made you decide to compete? How does Joel feel about it? What are you most excited and nervous for? And then Yessie XOXO779 says, why did you decide to compete? So I'm just going to go ahead and answer all those questions together. Honestly, I've wanted to do this for a really long time. Just the timing was never right, and my metabolism was never right, and my mindset wasn't really right. So now it's kind of like everything's coming together and the timing is just great. I was in a full-time internship and doing grad school full-time for the past couple years, and I was tracking macros and working out, lifting heavy, but just that timing was not right. And now that I'm done with that, I can finally have time to put the effort into what it takes to actually do prep right. And more importantly, my metabolism is right. Since I reverse dieted twice, I'm at a really good place with my metabolism and my mentality. I mean, I'm probably 15 to 20 pounds above what I need to be on stage, but I'm totally cool with my body. I'm totally comfortable with where I'm at right now, which I never would have been able to say that a couple years ago. There's no way I would have been okay with being 122 pounds. Like I would have freaked out. So it's pretty cool how it's completely changed my mindset. Ultimately, I just want to be the best version of myself and help others to be the best version of themselves. And I'm talking more so about the ability to live life to the fullest and to not stress out about things, but still hit your fitness goals. Joel has been so supportive of me competing and just in every endeavor I've ever tried. He's been there for me all the way. So I'm very, very thankful for him. And I'm sure he'll be in some future vlogs with me. I'm attempting to get him into lifting, so cross your fingers. What I'm nervous about. Honestly, I'm nervous about everything because it's all so new to me, but I know I'm in such good hands with my coach, which definitely eases my mind because he's the best. And I'm thankful for some friends that I've met along the way here online. I will link to all of them below in the comments if you're interested in competing and just want some really good resources. These girls are amazing and they have great YouTube channels with lots of video logs about prep that I found so helpful. What I'm excited for is just getting my body into like a whole nother level of conditioning, like just the best it's ever been. And just accomplish this goal that I've always had. I'm really excited to compete with Christine because we have so much fun together always. The Flex Lewis this year is going to be at Opryland Hotel, which is the coolest hotel ever. It has these massive indoor garden atriums that you can just walk around for miles and miles. It's gorgeous. Miss Audrey Lynn says, when you go out to eat, do you weigh your food? I don't do this anymore. When I was taking data for the MacroExperiment, like getting reverse diet data, I did do this because I wanted to be as accurate as possible for my blog, for my experiment. I really don't think it's necessary at all to do that. Maybe if you're in prep for a show, but normally I don't think it's necessary. If you've been doing flexible dieting for a while, you probably can eyeball things pretty dang good. Avery Ditchert says, do you have any tips for meeting protein requirements? I feel like I struggle the most with meeting this macronutrient. So I'm going to throw a little cheat sheet up on the screen by Timothy Lee. Personally, I make almost everything into some kind of high protein recipe. Like I said earlier, even my dessert. I make cake, ice cream, and brownies that have high protein, low carbs, and low fat. Protein pancakes and waffles, protein French toast, adding egg whites to anything, grilled chicken. There's tons of ways you can add extra protein to meals. So I actually made a video all about this with like a crap ton of amazing high protein, low carb, high volume food tips. So I'm also gonna link that right here because I think it's a really good resource. Yesy XOXO says, what was your ED? So I was never officially diagnosed or hospitalized or anything like that, but I know I did have anorexia. I was in denial about it. I would weigh myself obsessively, and it had to be around 100 pounds or I would freak out until it hit that number. I have another video with all of my history. You can watch that right here. Sorry I'm linking all these videos, but if you want the longer version, this is the way to that. AH1D says, how can you have a cheat day on reverse dieting? I'm sitting at 7 to 8% body fat. So I honestly don't do cheat days. I count everything into my macros. If I want pizza or ice cream, I will put room for it in my macros. I've had untracked meals where I eat mindfully, but I never do a full-on cheat, like balls to the wall, eat everything cheat meal. But that's just my personal opinion of what works best. If you're okay with gaining weight at a quicker rate than a typical reverse diet, then go for the cheat day. But I just personally wouldn't recommend it. Admiral Sekjun says, what do you think of Travis S? Travis S is the bomb. He is one of the nicest, hilarious, most down-to-earth people ever. So he has a great YouTube channel. Unless you've been living under a rock, you are probably subscribed to him. So if you're not, click this right now. All right, Nas306 says, can you teach me how to drive and vlog? That would be a no. I do not know how to do that. I'd probably kill us both. Haynes Isabel says, I saw on your blog that you measure your body fat as another way to track progress on a reverse diet. What method do you use? So when I was doing my first reverse diet a year ago, I used the Omron, I think is what you call it, handheld body fat analyzer to calculate body fat percentage, just so I could have an extra data point. I know it's not the most accurate way, but the error is more random than systematic. And what I mean by that is it's a good way to at least see if body fat is going up or down, even if the number is off some. For more info on the exact parameters of my experiment, click here. KMK Fitness Journey says, can you do a what you eat in a day video? Do you have a list or information on what you ate when you started and your protein was much higher than carbs? Yes, my next video will probably be one of those what I eat in a day videos. And I actually made one a while back that you can watch here. And I do have, like I said earlier, a massive list of high protein, low carb, low fat meal ideas. And I made a video all about it, which you can watch here. Resiliently Robin says, how to count macros for sushi at a restaurant. For this one and anything else that's kind of like this where the macros are kind of unknown, but there's some entries in MyFitnessPal that might be a little sketchy, I would say find 3 entries that seem legit in MyFitnessPal, average those together, make sure that it's the same correct amount of pieces and the correct type of sushi that you're getting. Average those 3 together and use those average macros as your macros. Tips from a Fit Chick says, hey girl, I love your page. I recently switched to flexible dieting and was wondering, how do you macro track Froyo? Seems so complicated if you don't bring a scale or something. So there's actually a lot of different ways to do this, to track Froyo. And I think it really depends on where you're at. Like if you're about to do a show in a week, and you need to be exact, I would bring your own toppings and maybe a little mini scale to just get that Froyo amount right on. Or just weigh your Froyo at the register and then add the toppings on. But if you aren't about to compete, I would say just eyeball everything to the best of your ability. I would also have an idea of what you're getting before you go so you can fit it in to your macros and estimate accordingly. So for the actual Froyo, 1/3 of a medium-sized Froyo cup is about a half cup of Froyo. At the end of the day, consistency is what matters most, not perfection. Especially if this is more of just a treat than an everyday thing. I would not sweat it. Just enjoy it and don't stress out. Remember to like and subscribe.
climb an ocean